Manchester United's FA Cup quarter-final win over Fulham 2 weeks ago guaranteed that Erik ten Hag's side would play at least 61 competitive games this season. United have only played more than 60 games in a single season 4 times in their existence. There was Jose Mourinho's inaugural season in 2016-17 when they won the League Cup and Europa League while playing 64 games, and 2020-21 when they also made the Europa League final while playing 61 games, while the 1998-99 season, the treble-winning season, was 63 games. It also occurred in 2008-2009 when United played 66 games. That's what goes on when you're the best club in the world and have to compete for the Club World Cup, the Super Cup, Community Shield and Champions League on top of the Premier League, FA Cup and League Cup. This is also where Erik ten Hag wishes his Manchester United squad to be. He wants 70 game seasons, including friendlies, to be the standard because it would indicate Manchester United is back on track. If they win both the FA Cup and the Europa League, their total for the 2022-23 season will be 65, the second most in the club's history. A minimum of 61 competitive games is a far cry from the 44 games played under Louis van Gaal in 2014-15, when United had no European football after placing 7th the previous season and were thrashed 4-0 by third-tier MK Dons in the EFL Cup. Another reason this season is so hectic is the 2 Europa League playoff round games against Barcelona. When you consider that no formal games were played for 6 weeks due to the World Cup break, the United of 22-23 had the highest intensity of games in any season since the team was established in 1878. United have at least 15 games remaining to play with a maximum of 9 weeks left in the season, and that figure could rise to 19 if they make the finals of the FA Cup and Europa League. Their April calendar alone includes 9 games. It's as intense as the run of games since the World Cup's conclusion, which United can consider a triumph after finishing 3rd in the league and advancing in all 3 cup tournaments. They have lost only 2 of their 25 league games since the restart of the season 3 days after Argentina's victory in Qatar, both away to current league leaders Arsenal and arch rivals Liverpool. Manchester City, Barcelona, Real Betis and Newcastle United all lost. A comparable run from now until June could see United win their 2nd and 3rd trophies of the season and 3rd in the league, but it will be difficult given exhaustion, injuries and the sheer volume of games. Ten Hag has instructed his staff to approach every game from now until the conclusion of the season as if it were a cup final. He desires more prizes. He wanted his players to rest during the March international break so they could return energized and primed to triumph. He has adopted a slightly different strategy in public. When questioned if he was concerned about the hectic timetable of matches, Ten Hag responded, "We don't need a rest. When the players come back from the international break, we keep the rhythm. Players like to play. We have the energy and a good squad. We'll rotate, but we have to go from game to game and put the best 11 on the pitch." He's currently in a back my players because they need backing mindset reminiscent of Sir Alex Ferguson. Ten Hag does not want fatigue to become an excuse for his players in the final games. He understands that if he permits it, his team will be able to use their grueling timetable as an escape. He can also back up his point of view with statistics that show United finishing victorious. This season, their first half goal difference is +6 from 20 to 26, and their second half goal difference is from 28 to 62. That's +34. He is consistent in his planning and he strikes a reasonable mix between rest and playing time for his athletes. Ten Hag will use all of the assets at his disposal right now, knowing that he needs to strengthen the squad even more before he believes United can compete for the title again. He's surrounded by a strong team and he pays attention to them. Ten Hag has significantly decreased the amount of hamstring and soft tissue injuries in the United roster. One reason is to keep track of the bodily demands placed on participants. This is far more readily conveyed to the current regime than, say, Mourinho. Managers like Mourinho and Jurgen Klopp of Liverpool want their stars on the field at all time, so it's a sensitive position. The contest against Newcastle today on Sunday is crucial. If Newcastle win this rematch of their Carabao Cup final hit in February, they will be ahead of Ten Hag's team on goal difference. Either way, the number of games can increase and the opponents will become more challenging, though there was some comfort when Arsenal was knocked out of the Europa League round of 16 by Sporting Lisbon. United has played more games in fewer days than will be required now. including 4 in 8 days at the conclusion of the 1988-89 season. But those were dead rubber contests because United ended in the lowest half of the old First Division, and the low crowds showed that, with only 23,000 in attendance for a home game against Wimbledon. These upcoming events are very different.